Today we're getting into the latest Tesla news, including Tesla giving up their biggest advantage, Tesla's huge price advantage, new Cybertruck patents, and more, so let's get into it. First up today, one of the biggest complaints people have with Tesla is their service. Sometimes when buying a Tesla, it can feel like you have no communication when waiting, lots of communication when your vehicle is delivered and you're paying them, and then silence once it's in your hand. To schedule service, you do it through the Tesla app, and it can be very hard to get in touch with a person at the company. Then if your car has an issue, Tesla service can be pretty backed up in popular Tesla areas. For a long time now, Tesla has been talking about service improvements, and I've noticed some improvements, but they continue selling a record number of cars each quarter. Service has to keep expanding, and Tesla is now doing this in one of their biggest markets, California. Electrek noticed this week that Tesla has posted 89 new service jobs within California. These range from service technician to escalation, representatives, and more, and are located in a few different areas across California. Many jobs also have to do with collision repair, which is something Tesla has been expanding at their own service centers. This comes after Tesla announced last year that they were aiming to have the majority of appointments taken care of same day. That's a big goal, especially considering they delivered over 200,000 vehicles in California in the last year and will only be delivering more in 2023. It's great to see these job listings, and I imagine we'll be seeing even more of it this year. In my area, Tesla moved to a much larger service center, and I've actually noticed availability opening up quite a bit. At the end of the day, their goal is that the best service is no service, but when it's necessary, it needs to be easy to get. I hope they can keep up with their pace of deliveries, especially after these price drops. Speaking of, we talked in my last video about the results of Tesla's price drops. While many recent buyers are rightfully upset, Tesla is seeing unprecedented demand. This is because their EVs are now cheaper than many competitors, far more available, able to be charged at thousands of superchargers, and eligible for a $7,500 tax credit. Their tax credit status could potentially change in March, but we'll see how that develops. That's for another video. In any case, Tesla's lead in profit per vehicle is really coming into focus with this round of price drops. They have a huge lead on producing electric vehicles for less, and Reuters showed just how wide the gap is in a chart. While we see Tesla's impressive lead, what Electrek points out is that, quote, aside from companies like NIO and Xpeng, all the gross margins and net profits from the other companies also come from non-all-electric vehicles, meaning hybrids, PHEVs, and gas-powered cars. For companies like GM, which comes in second to Tesla in net profits, it is believed that its gasoline-powered vehicles have much higher margins than its electric vehicles. So this comparison actually misses a huge piece of the puzzle. All of these companies are planning to go all-electric, but currently make most of their profit from gas vehicles. If we compare strictly EV profitability at Tesla to other companies, it's likely much more drastic than most realize. Tesla makes more per vehicle on an electric vehicle than other companies make on a gas vehicle as well. In November of 2022, we heard that GM, with their massive EV expansion plans, is targeting profitability by 2025, meaning they will be losing money on all of the EVs that they sell until 2025. At least that's what they're aiming for. It's an important piece to point out when comparing profitability per vehicle sold. Tesla also tends to sell more expensive vehicles than the average gas vehicle sold. Again, though, this may not be quite what people expect. For luxury cars, the average sale price in November of 2022 was $67,050, right around what the price of a Model Y was at the time. At the same time, the average non-luxury vehicle sold for $44,584. Many of the aspects people typically don't think about with a company are actually some of the biggest places we see Tesla's lead. That's where Sandy Munro comes in. Sandy is completely focused on manufacturing and costs at the foundation of building a product. For a while now, he has talked about the fact that Tesla can drop prices and maintain profitability in a way others can't. Quote, according to Munro and Associates analyses, based on multiple electric vehicle teardowns, Tesla achieved the lowest estimated cost in the EV industry. For the 2022 Model Y, when priced at $58,990, Munro calculated an estimated build cost of $39,393 for Tesla. This comes from their in-depth teardowns, looking at every piece of the puzzle. That meant about a 33% profit, around $20,000 per vehicle. This has been lowered slightly with recent price cuts, but remains high as they continue to drive the cost of manufacturing down little by little. Quote, the cost advantage over other car makers is so high, in Sandy Munro's opinion, that the move to cut prices is expected to eliminate or even annihilate competitors. Tesla cars will be cheaper than other models. They expect even higher profit margins on the upcoming Cybertruck. With Tesla's recent price cuts, people are saying it's a price war, and companies are already beginning to react. Lucid Motors just announced a $7,500 discount for leases. This amount matches the tax credit the Lucid Air is priced out of, and comes just after Tesla dropped prices of the Model S up to $21,000. When talking about other automakers, analyst John Murphy said, quote, "These price cuts are likely to make business even more difficult, just as they are attempting to ramp production of EV offerings. So far, GM and Ford have yet to respond, but Tesla's price cuts immediately brought interest to their product that could affect all other EVs. Quote, Edmunds data shows on-site shopper consideration of Tesla pages more than doubled from 1.9% last week to 4% this week, while the Tesla Model 3 moved up from 47th to 11th on Edmunds' most searched vehicle list. The Model Y moved up a whopping 68 places from 70th to 2nd. The Model Y was already on track to be the best-selling vehicle globally, but now has moved from the 70th most searched vehicle to the 2nd on Edmunds. The price cut is absolutely working, and Tesla is on track to absolutely dominate in an EV price war. At the same time, though, one of Tesla's biggest advantages may be starting to fizzle out this year: their Supercharger network. Charging infrastructure is one of the most important pieces of a successful EV. Tesla has a massive advantage in this area right now because they have over 40,000 chargers worldwide. For the most part, these are exclusively available for Tesla vehicles. Their speed and reliability also far outpace that of any other third-party charging network, so it really makes a huge difference when choosing an EV. Right now, I primarily daily drive between the Tesla Model Y and Rivian R1T. Both are incredible vehicles in their own right, but for a road trip, I will always be taking my Model Y. I've never had any road trip issues in a Tesla, whereas my first and only Rivian road trip was a nightmare. It was a nightmare due to terribly unreliable Electrify America charging infrastructure, and I was driving through California, one of the biggest EV states. Tesla's charging advantage cannot be understated, but their long-term goal isn't to keep this in-house. They want to open their charging network to other EVs. Many worry that if they did this overnight, it could cause huge issues, but either way, however they handle this, it will lead to Tesla losing this advantage. This week, Tesla leaked some details on how they plan to open up their Supercharger network. It's with an adapter they call the Magic Dock. Many have wondered how Tesla will open their Superchargers, since they are short cables with Tesla-specific connectors. Last year, they open-sourced their connector for other automakers to use if they choose. The connector itself is far better and smaller than other options, but CCS has already become somewhat of a standard. As a result, it appears Tesla will be using CCS as part of their Magic Dock. This leaked in the latest version of the Tesla mobile app, and it includes an updated render of a supercharging stall. Current V3 supercharging stalls have a very small receptacle where you return the connector after charging. This is simply to dock the Tesla connector, but this render shows a much larger receptacle. Reportedly, this is an updated CCS connector that is a piece of this dock. So when you pull up to charge a Tesla, you pull out the Tesla handle only and plug in and charge. However, when you use the Tesla app to unlock the charger for a non-Tesla, the full handle with locked-in CCS converter releases. You replace the entire handle when done, and everything is part of the same charging stall. This allows Tesla to retrofit and add only a very small piece to their supercharger stalls, prevent converters from being damaged or stolen, and allow all EVs in the US to charge from their superchargers. They may not open chargers unless they have this new updated V3 or V4 stall. This showing up in the Tesla app, though, does point to Tesla releasing this soon. Typically, when something arrives in the app like this, the feature itself will arrive in a few weeks or months. On top of this, people have been spotting Tesla's official listings for supercharger stations that say CCS compatibility. Apparently, this station doesn't actually have CCS compatibility yet, but we're seeing the pieces that Tesla is putting in place when they officially open their chargers to other EVs. This is twofold for Tesla. On the one hand, this is their best and biggest advantage that they are giving up. It may take some time, but eventually Tesla chargers could be what all EVs are using, making them more crowded and allowing people to buy any EV, since Tesla has their charging needs covered regardless. On the other hand, this goes directly with Tesla's mission. Their mission is to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. They are a company that needs to deliver profits, but Elon Musk has said it is our goal to support the advent of sustainable energy. It is not to create a walled garden and use that to bludgeon our competitors. One could argue that they are doing this with the recent price war, but they appear to be on track to open up chargers. This will make buying any electric vehicle much more practical, all while Tesla earns more money at chargers to continue expanding that infrastructure. I'm very curious to see when this Magic Dock first arrives and how Tesla handles congestion at chargers when opening them up to other EVs. Ultimately, I think it's a great thing. What are your thoughts though? How do you think Tesla will handle opening superchargers to other EVs, and do you think it will hurt them long term? Leave a comment below to let me know your thoughts. Next up today, Cybertruck production keeps moving along. On January 18th, new drone footage spotted Tesla further assembling the massive gigapress that will make the Cybertruck body. This is coming along quite a bit since last we talked about it, but likely still has a ways to go before it's operational. At the same time, the molds that will actually go inside the press itself have been spotted arriving at Giga Texas. A shipment of 4 die castings supplied by ZDM were shown shipping to Tesla in official documents. Greg on Twitter, who spotted this, also attached a photo of what products from this company typically look like. They most likely arrived at Giga Texas on January 20th. These would be what go inside the 9,000-ton gigapress and are injected with molten metal to form the Cybertruck's rear underbody. These molds are also particularly heavy, so all signs point to these being specific to the Cybertruck, and timing lines up exactly with the assembly of the gigapress. It looks like within a few weeks we could see first gigapress molds for the rear of the Cybertruck, similar to what we first saw with the Model Y at Giga Texas back in May of 2021. Step by step, we're getting closer to Cybertruck production, and now Tesla has obtained a new patent for the Cybertruck's windshield. The windshield and other glass on the Cybertruck is very specific, and one of the features of it, as well as the rest of the truck, is what Tesla calls armor glass. Tesla says that this ultra-strong glass and polymer-layered composite can absorb and redirect impact force for improved performance and damage tolerance. Tesla has now obtained a patent to manufacture glass in novel shapes, mainly to manufacture it for the shapes necessary in the Cybertruck. In their patent application, they say generally such processes for making glass structures are limited by the amount of curvature or bending achievable with the glass. For example, typically only smooth, high radius of curvatures are used for automotive glass structures. They describe their method in depth and say, in some examples, the glass structure is a multi-layer glass structure and includes a second layer of glass, including a first portion of glass and a second portion of glass, the first and second portions meeting at the feature line or bend in the first layer of glass. A polymer may be disposed between the first layer of glass and the second layer of glass. Attached as part of this application are illustrations of what this multi-layered glass with curvature will look like, as well as illustrations of where this technique will be used within the Cybertruck. Many expect that they'll also be using this technique for the Semi, but for now this application mentions the Cybertruck. There will be a lot of new technology in the Cybertruck, and here's hoping Tesla stays on track for first production in the middle of this year. Next up today, a quick update for Tesla software appears to be on the way. It looks like Tesla will be adding the option for low and high when turning on the heated steering wheel. Right now, when you turn on the heated steering wheel, it pretty much has one very hot setting. Now they will be adding an option, and you should be able to control it through the app. This is expected to come in the first software update for 2023. Last up today, some updates about other automakers. Kia appears to have leaked the specs for the upcoming EV9 SUV. The EV9 has been shown off by Kia and kept fairly secret, but it's expected to be a 3-row SUV taking on vehicles like the Rivian R1S. It's a larger SUV than a Model Y, and in a customer survey, Kia leaked the specs for this car. They aren't 100% confirmed, but Kia is showing 5 trims for this vehicle. It will start at $56,000, get 220 miles of range, 200 horsepower, and have a 0 to 60 in 8.5 seconds. Up from there are trims at $61,000, $63,000, $68,000, and $73,000. These have 290, 260, 240, and 240 miles of range respectively. Trim 2 on this list at $61,000 adds a 2,000-pound towing capacity, sunroof, and captain chairs for the second row, according to this report. The highest spec will be a 0 to 60 in 5.2 seconds. Apparently, they are also planning to offer a $4,800 add-on for semi-autonomous driving. In response to this leak, a Kia spokesperson said, quote, "The final specifications for EV9 are therefore very much in flux at this time as the launch is not until later this year. So these specs aren't final, but they do look good in some ways and disappointing in others. It looks like they would qualify for a $7,500 tax credit as an SUV under $80,000 and would deliver a reasonable range for a vehicle its size. When comparing to a Model Y, clearly the range in 0 to 60 isn't favorable, but this is an entirely different large 3-row squared-off SUV. I'm very curious to see what the final specs are, and I'm excited to see another full-size electric SUV enter the market. It will be directly taking on the Rivian R1S, which is priced quite a bit higher for a similar range. Over at GM, they have released results for the Silverado EV's towing capacity. In recent validation tests testing the model that should be capable of towing 20,000 pounds, they had great results testing a 7,700-pound RV. A chief engineer said, "It's so important for full-size truck customers to be able to haul and do everything that they can do in a traditional pickup truck. And I think we've really set the bar and really made an incredible product." The top specs for this truck include that full 20,000-pound towing capacity, separately a 400-mile range, 664 horsepower, and up to 350 kilowatt charging speeds. The first version of the Silverado EV should should be coming to market in fall of 2023. One roadblock in GM's path to electrification just came with the plans for their fourth EV battery plant. This was a partnership with GM and LG Energy Solution that has been put indefinitely on hold. Quote, the automaker is now consulting with at least one other battery supplier for its next US facility. Reportedly, the plans fell through due to LG's rapid growth in the US and economic uncertainty. On top of this, GM wanted to accelerate output while LG reportedly didn't agree. This will be interesting to see develop since the first 3 Ultium battery plants are specific partnerships between GM and LG. Over at Lightyear, after recently teasing their Lightyear 2, they have stopped all production. The Lightyear Zero began production in November of 2022, and it was on track to be the first true solar EV to market. However, they have now abruptly halted production to focus entirely on the Lightyear 2. Quote, unfortunately, we had to make this decision. The whole process of developing Lightyear 2 has provided our company many valuable learnings over the past years. We are now redirecting all our energy towards building Lightyear 2 in order to make it available to clients on schedule. They have received 60,000 reservations for the Lightyear 2, and this is because it's a $40,000 vehicle with up to 500 miles of range listed, even though we've barely seen anything but teaser images. This is interesting to see, but does make sense as they had only planned to make 946 Lightyear Zeros. Now that they have massive interest in the Lightyear 2, it makes more sense for them to go all in there. I really hope it can succeed and deliver something close to that price and range. That's all the latest Tesla news for today, so in the meantime, if you want to see why you may want to buy a Tesla before March, if you're interested, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.